Ding, ding. Oh, that is bright. Let's try it, though. So, it's interesting how things come in waves in our life in terms of their significance. Where the big things are the big things, the small things are the small things. But sometimes that can change. Big things becoming small things becoming big things. And what really matters is what is the level of significance of that particular thing at that given time with that particular environmental, internal, and external context. So I find that interesting. Why? Well, like anything else on this channel, anything else that I discuss through any channel in general, physical or metaphysical or online or offline, through books, things like that. If and when we consider these things more and more, they have a tendency to balance us out, to put things in perspective so that we're not essentially wasting energy, so that we can give our energy, our time and attention, our life to better things, and or to allocate the time and energy and focus, attention, allocate it wisely in a balanced way. So one of the reasons I had this topic come up is because when I work with kids, something that is seemingly small to me as an educator or any other educator, and a kid's just going through the thick of it, going through the motions, having a breakdown, having a breakdown or a shutdown or a lash out or a freak out, temper tantrum, like all this stuff. Where we're over here like, your thing is lost. Like, I'll help you find it. Like, oh, this person did this thing. He scribbled on your paper. I'm sorry that happened. I can get you another one. And then we can be all good. But in children and in adults, it's never really, one, never really that simple. Two, because it's never really about the surface level thing, is it? For the most part, it's an internal stockpiling of unfortunate events, unfortunate emotional swirling, and then there can be an event, the linchpin event, the straw that broke the camel's back, and we freak out. Now, in terms of tracing back to the how, the when, and the why, that's not as productive as discovering, right? Zooming out, just generally discovering that these situations, these flows, these ebbs and flows of life, they happen. That's the only sort of suggestion point for this and most of my videos, where I bring something up, something that's very real and true and authentic to the human experience. Now, I may be playing more into it than most other people, but that's just because I love the psychology, the energetics, the spirituality, the philosophies, the mechanics, physical and metaphysical mechanics of life, of our lives, of our heart, soul, intuition, of creation, the creative power of life. You can call it the universe, God, the Tao, whatever you want. But it's this, and our symbiosis, our coexistence, our collaboration. I mispronounced that on purpose. I love to play with the words, right? We are co-laborating, we're collaborating, whether we want to or not. And I'm going to go more into this collaborative inevitability in another video. I'll title it something like, we are playing and being played. Because that's very true. And then I'll talk about the personal examples and the applicable fortitude for our own lives. And it'll be awesome. Okay. Back to the topic at hand, which is the small things become the big things, become the small things, become the big things. It comes in waves. And it would be beneficial for us to notice that. Because if we're not necessarily catching ourselves doing it, if we're neutrally, compassionately observing that this is happening, we'll essentially have less freakouts, right? We'll simplify it, we'll leave it at that. We'll have much less freakouts, we'll have much more perspective, and the way that I enact it in my own life, and this is a concept that I'm going to put in my new book. Spoiler alert, it's most likely going to be called Sober Psychedelics. Sober, P-S-O-B-E-R. Anyway, this concept of zooming in and zooming out. The toggling of the significance of something from moment to moment at will. So essentially, what we're doing is, let's just say we spilled milk, right? Even though it's a cliche example, it's a cliche for a reason. Anyway, you spill a drink, and let's up the ante. It was a glass cup, so glass breaks. Liquid, glass, liquid and glass everywhere. Boom. Big old mess. Of course, if you're zoomed into a certain threshold amount, you can be freaking out. You can be all emotional about it. You could be stomping your feet if you have shoes on. You just can be ranting and raving. This is a mess. This is disgusting. All the cleaning that I have to do, all the time that I have to, quote unquote, waste, because that is an opinion. All this stuff, this is just getting in my way. This is not what I want to do, ... etc., etc. And if we zoom out a little bit, it can go from that to, wow, well, that was unexpected. All right, let's get this cleaned up and out of the way so I can move forward in my day. You're zoomed out in the sense that life is life, is life, is life. Something happens, you handle it, or you face it, you handle it accordingly. It's handled, you continue, right? And I like the wordplay well, just wordplay in general, but in specificity. Instead of, I'm going to do this, it's just, I'm going. It's happening. This is happening, this is now, right? So, like in working with the kids, I don't say things like, it's going to get better, you're going to be fine. And I don't even say, you're fine, right? Like if somebody, kid or adult, whatever, is having an emotional upheaval, you say things that are most appropriate. Because saying, you're fine, is in direct contrast to their personal felt experience. You can logicize that away, but someone's true felt experience, just let them have their experience and just be there for them, right? You could say things along the lines of, hey, whatever you need, like, I'm here for you. Do you want a hug? Do you want me to hold your hand? How can I help you? What do you need? Right? Things like that. Anyway, let's wrap this video up. So the small things can become the big things, can become the small things, can become the big things. And how we can play this, here's a little treat for those of you still listening, still tuned in, even though, we shouldn't need to do that, dangle a carrot. Not even that you want a carrot. But an extra particular advantage to being able to modulate, being able to toggle when you're saying this is a big thing, when you're saying this is a small thing, is toggling the zoom in when the experience is light and soft and tender and safe and loving and beautiful, where you don't have to be like on edge, you don't have to be, ultimately vigilant and all these things, right? Because in certain scenarios, especially if you're working with children or have children, like, you want vigilance and diligence and all those things. But even in particularly attentive moments, there can be moments of softness, of sanctity, of care and love and beauty and safety, and you're just feeling it. Those are perfect moments for you to zoom in, to increase the significance, to have the, maybe perhaps at the time, relatively small thing, toggle it, goose it up on the dial, goose it up, and make it a really big thing, to have it really just envelop and vibe with your being, where you're just like, alright, I can zoom in, I could really soak this in, I could really just devour this moment. And it's amazing, long story short. And maybe you've done this to an extent already, consciously or subconsciously. Just really sink your teeth into the beautiful moments. Yeah. Alright, let's end the video with respect to you, respect to me, for us being alive, living this life, for our participation, right? Because sometimes, lots of times, life ain't easy, but you're making it happen, you're facing what you're facing, you're handling what you're handling, you're getting done what you're getting done. And yeah, there are plenty of things, on the plate, on the table for you to do, for me to do. But the stuff that we are handling, the stuff that we're not denying, the stuff that we're facing, like, respect. Zooming out, respect to life, this multi-layered, multi-dimensional existence in just our individual beingness in general, our physical body, our mind, emotions, our heart, soul, intuition, our aura, the physical stuff, the metaphysical stuff, in symbiosis, working in collaboration with nature, with this aspect of life, with earth, with the elements, fire, the sun, the earth, the food, the water, the air, the atmosphere, the fact that everything distance-wise, temperature-wise, atmospheric pressure-wise is working out to sustain us here on Earth. It's freaking awesome. Respect. Respect, 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 respect. And holy crap, right? Like, we're still alive. Check your pulse. You're still alive. It's a good day. All right, this is Mac 11. Catch you later.